Then when the Buddha left Kapilavatthu that time, he went to Vesali, which was about 250 or 300 miles away. And meanwhile, Mahapajapati had cut off her hair and put on saffron robes, and together with a group of Sakyan women, she set out for Vesali. And when she arrived in Vesali, the Venerable Ananda saw her standing there. Her feet were swollen, her limbs were covered with dust, and she was very sad and unhappy, with tears on her face. And Venerable Ananda saw her and asked her why she was standing there like that. She explained to him that it was because the Buddha would not allow the women to go forth. Then Ananda approached the Buddha, and on behalf of the women, he asked for permission for the women to go forth into homelessness. And 3 times he asked, and 3 times the Buddha again didn't refuse, but he told Ananda, do not ask for women to be allowed to receive the going forth. After the 3rd time, the Venerable Ananda used a different tactic. He asked the Buddha, he said, Venerable Sir, is it possible for women to achieve the paths and fruits? Is it possible for them to achieve arhatship? The Buddha said, it's possible, Ananda. Then Ananda said, if this is so, and since Mahapajapati has been so helpful to you, when your mother died, she became your foster mother and gave you milk to drink and took care of you in every way. For this reason, it would be good if women could obtain the going forth. And when Ananda said this, then the Buddha said that he would allow women to go forth and become bhikkhunis, fully ordained nuns, if they would agree to 8 principles. These 8 principles all have the effect of making the Bhikkhuni Sangha, the order of nuns, to some extent subordinate to the order of bhikkhus, and of requiring the nuns to show special respect and reverence for the bhikkhus. It seems that one of the great dangers the Buddha foresaw was that the holy life might become corrupted if there was unregulated contact between bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. He therefore laid down these special rules as conditions that would make such contact difficult. And these rules, as we said, also serve to subordinate the order of nuns to the order of monks. And this will doubtlessly raise some objections among modern advocates of equal rights. But we shouldn't judge the Buddha against present-day standards. We have to see him against the social background of his times. In those days, women were severely restricted, and even to allow them to go forth into homelessness was a radical measure. If the Buddha had made the 2 orders precisely equal, he would have risked losing the respect of lay people, and his teaching might have disappeared without flourishing. But by making these rules, he was able to retain the respect of lay people and to ensure that his teaching would thrive. Once the order of bhikkhunis was formed, it attracted women from all different walks of life. Women of royal stock, wealthy women, poor women, ordinary housewives, courtesans, young girls, and so on, left their homes to put on the yellow robes of Buddhist nuns. A good number of these women practiced the path to its goal, achieving arhatship. Some became prominent members of the Sangha, masters of meditation, some excelling in wisdom, in concentration, in learning, in supernormal powers. A few of the nuns who gave discourses which have been included in the Sutta Pitaka, and the verses of the nuns who reached arhatship, have been collected together into a single book of the Sutta Pitaka, the Therigatha, the verses of the elder nuns. Like the Bhikkhu Sangha, the order of nuns had its own patimokkha. This contained over 300 rules, more than that for the order of monks, as some special regulations were needed for women. One of the regulations for the Bhikkhuni Sangha, which was to have unfortunate consequences, was the requirement that a woman novice had to receive full ordination from both orders, the order of monks and the order of bhikkhunis. For several centuries, the Bhikkhuni Sangha continued to flourish in India. During the 3rd century BC, King Ashoka allowed his own daughter, Sanghamita, to become a bhikkhuni. And together with a group of nuns, Sanghamita traveled to Sri Lanka with a branch of the Bodhi tree, and she helped establish the Bhikkhuni Sangha in the island of Sri Lanka. After Sanghamita had set up the Bhikkhuni Sangha in Sri Lanka, many women from all the different strata of Sinhalese society joined the order, which became famous for the saintliness and piety of its nuns. The Bhikkhuni Sangha continued to thrive in Sri Lanka for many centuries, even up to the 10th century AD. And during this period it received the support of the king and the royal government and the enthusiastic support of the laity. However, due to a series of invasions from South India, the Bhikkhuni Sangha seems to have died out in Sri Lanka in the 10th century AD, while in India the order also disappeared. When, we do not know. And since ordination as a bhikkhuni has to be received from an existing Sangha of bhikkhunis, when the latter has died out, then ordination becomes impossible and the lineage cannot continue. And it cannot be revived by bhikkhus, by lay people, or anyone else, but only by a Buddha. Thus, when the Bhikkhuni Sangha disappeared in India and Sri Lanka, this meant the end of the lineage, as a Theravada Buddha Sangha had not yet been established in Burma, Thailand, or the other Southeast Asian countries. But though the formal Bhikkhuni Sangha disappeared from the Theravada Buddhist world, Theravada Buddhist women continued to be drawn to the monastic life. As a result, there have sprung up in the main Theravada countries orders of women who live together as nuns, taking a less formal ordination and following the holy life according to the model of the ancient bhikkhunis. These women generally observe 8 or 10 precepts. The 10 precepts are the same as the precepts for a novice monk. The 8 precepts are obtained by dropping the 10th precept and by joining together the 7th and 8th. These women nuns shave their heads and they wear distinctive robes, which may be saffron, brown, or white. They live sometimes in special sections of the monasteries separated from the monks. Sometimes they live in convents of their own